Let's start today with a scene a lot of us know all too well. You're sitting in a VA waiting room for your compensation and pension exam. You might be a little on edge. You might be frustrated about the wait, or maybe you're running through a mental checklist of symptoms you want to mention. When they finally call your name, you head back, meet your examiner. Sometimes it's a warm conversation, sometimes it's businesslike. Before you know it, you're back out in the parking lot, maybe wondering if you said the right things or if any of it really mattered. I'm Sam Ross, founder of Claim Climbers and a fellow veteran who's sat in those same rooms. If you've ever left a C&P exam and thought, what happens now? Does anyone really understand what I'm dealing with? You are absolutely not alone. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and talk about what actually happens to the information you share during your exam and why it feels so heavy and why so many veterans walk away feeling like the whole process is a mystery. First, let's talk about the main tool the examiner uses, the Disability Benefits Questionnaire, or DBQ. There's not just one DBQ, there's a million. There's a different form for every kind of condition. If you've got back pain, migraines, PTSD, knee issues, sleep apnea, you name it, there's a DBQ for it. These forms are designed to help the examiner record what you're going through in a way that the VA rater can use later. They include checkboxes, rating scales, and questions about symptoms, severity, and frequency, and how the condition affects your work or daily life. Sometimes there's even a section for the examiner's opinion on whether your condition is related to your service. Now, here's where the process can feel impersonal. The VA rater, who ultimately decides your claim, the person assigning your percentage, or what making the call about service connection, almost never meets you. They're not there in the exam room. They don't see how you walk or hear how you talk about your pain. All they see is a stack of paperwork. And at the center of that stack is the DBQ. That form becomes one of the most important pieces of evidence in your file along with your Nexus letter. Your entire experience gets translated in a few pages of medical language and checkboxes. That's why the exam experience can be so emotionally loaded. Many veterans feel like there's so much pressure to say everything perfectly in that short window. Sometimes you get an examiner who's patient and really listens. Other times, it's over in a flash. You might walk out thinking, did I actually explain how hard this is for me? Or did I just brush the stuff off that really mattered? It's completely normal to second guess yourself after one of these exams. The process can feel rushed or superficial, especially if you're used to minimizing pain or downplaying your struggles. And let's be honest, many of us were trained to push through discomfort. In the military, you get things done. You don't complain, you carry your load and move on. That mindset is useful in a lot of life, but it can make these exams tough. It's easy to fall into the habit of giving short answers or putting on a brave face, and then afterward, you wonder if the examiner really understood the truth of your experience. Sometimes, after the exam, you get your decision letter back and realize that what's written down doesn't match what you actually live with every day. Maybe the severity isn't reflected or certain symptoms get left out. Sometimes it's a matter of the examiner not having enough time or simply missing details that feel obvious to you. Other times, there's a real disconnect between you and the lived reality of what shows up on paper. When that happens, it's common for veterans to feel frustrated, disappointed, or even a little powerless. You might wonder if your story is just another in a pile. The truth is, there are a lot of moving parts, and sometimes the system doesn't capture the full reality of your life. But here's something to remember. The DBQ, while important, is just one piece of the puzzle. The VA is supposed to consider all relevant medical evidence in your file. If something seems off, many veterans end up gathering additional documentation, like private medical records or second medical opinions, to provide a fuller picture of their condition. This isn't about gaming the system, it's about making sure the truth gets seen. Let's also talk about the waiting game. After your exam, there's often a long period of uncertainty. You're left wondering what's happening behind the scenes, how your DBQ is being read, what's being entered into the computer, what context are they missing, and who's making the final call. It can feel like your future is hanging in limbo, and that's stressful for anyone. Every day you wait, you might find yourself replaying the exam in your head, worrying you forgot to say something or that the answers were misunderstood. You are not alone in these feelings. I've talked to many veterans, I've experienced it myself. Veterans who say the hardest part isn't even the exam itself, it's the waiting, it's the not knowing, the sense that something important is happening out of sight and out of your control. It's also worth saying, for some, the C&P exam can be a painful reminder of what's changed in their life since service. Talking about symptoms, limitation, or mental health can stir up a lot of emotions. It can feel like reliving difficult experiences or admitting things you'd rather keep private. There's no right or wrong way to feel about that. For many, it's just part of the journey. To recap today, the C&P exam is documented through a condition-specific DBQ, which is one of the main tools used by the VA to decide your rating. The rater who reviews your file probably never meets you in person. They rely on the DBQ and your paperwork. This process can feel rushed, impersonal, or incomplete, especially if you're used to minimizing pain or pushing through. When the DBQ doesn't reflect your reality, veterans sometimes provide additional documentation to help fill in the gaps, such as medical opinions. The waiting game after the exam can be just as stressful, if not more, as the exam. This can leave you with questions and uncertainty. Be assured you are not alone. If you've ever felt like your experience got lost in translation, or like you're just a number in a big system, you are not alone. These feelings are real, and they're shared by countless veterans across the country. It's okay to feel frustrated or anxious about the process. It just means you care about getting it right. So in our next episode, we'll dig into the details of back pay, how it works, how effective dates are decided, and why you might see a lump sum show up in your account out of nowhere. Thank you for joining me today, and thank you for your service. I'm Sam Ross. See you in episode 14.